All right.
Okay.
Live.
All that screaming I was doing last night. I was wore out when I got home. Is that snowing or raining?
What?
In Chicago, that if it look like that, that's snow. That man was supposed to cut down my tree today. That tree's still up. I didn't go outside to check him today. They took the
Give me
tree though.
give me the notes out of here on my show, on my anniversary. All right, turn it up and let me hear it.
Well, we haven't.
Turn up the intro so I can hear it. Put this up. Turn up just a little bit more. Turn it up a little bit
You just
higher.
want it high in his ears.
That's good. He will let you know.
You started streaming, Teresa?
What? What?
It's streaming.
They turn the streaming on. Tell her to turn the streaming on.
It's on.
It. There you go. On, 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 on.
Don't forget to turn him all the way down.
Please.
She's getting ready to unmute your mic. Mike, don't talk.
She know I can't hear, right?
5, 4, 3, 2.
And just when you thought it was safe, it is absolutely, positively not. And good Thursday evening to you. I am the one and only. I'm Thaddeus Matthews, and welcome again to still the most controversial television talk show in the world. I need to be out there on the national stage making them millions like Steve Harvey and them other people's make. But my day is coming. Hoping that your day has been simply marvelous, no matter what it is that you've been doing, whether you've been working or whether you're one of the fortunate ones who just sit back and wait on the mailman to come. The first is tomorrow, and that means y'all can go get these tickets for my big birthday show that's coming up on the 29th of March, and I will be a very sexy 62 years old. Looking forward to being 62. Got a great show for you on tonight. I've got a guest in the studios, psychic Abigail Noel. Abigail is a psychic. She's got the gift and she's got to use it. She has the gift that God gave her. Now, I don't try to understand God's gifts to nobody but me. I know that He made me great because I was born in His image. And when He, on April 1st, 1957, when I popped up out the hole, He said, now that's good and very good. But she's here. She sees things. And I can't explain it. She'll explain it when she come on the set. But back in 2014, I believe it was 2014, she started seeing Lorenzen Wright. She knew how he died. She knew all the players that's involved in his death. She's been 100% accurate. 100%. Ain't missed a detail. There's even some folk now, and she's gonna call some names tonight of some people that still have not been arrested by the Memphis Police Department. She and she gonna call a name. She even gonna call the name of somebody that's with the police department. And she told the police about this when Larry Godwin was police director. We're also gonna talk about Pandora Duncan. Pandora Duncan is the 85-year-old lady who's been missing now over a month. We ain't seen her nowhere. Ain't nobody seen her nowhere. Family been mighty damn quiet to me. Okay. They've reached out to, at least I think a granddaughter reached out to Abigail. Abigail says that Pandora is no longer among the living, that she's in the Wolf River, that there were some other people that were involved in her death. She didn't die because she wanted to. She had some help with death. So I'm going to bring Abigail on in just a little bit, and she's going to share with you who she is. She's going to share a little bit about the Lorenzen Wright case, and then, and I told her, I said, well, one of the biggest interests that my audience has is Pandora Duncan. Pandora Duncan. And this is what we're going to be talking about. So it's going to be a little controversial on tonight. You're going to want to stay around for that. Don't forget, March 29th, my big birthday blues bash is going to take place inside the gymnasium of the Naked Truth Liberation and Empowerment Ministries, featuring O.B. Buchanan, Carl Sims, P2K, Courtney Little, Stacy Marino, the Marquis of Soul, and Adrena out of Jackson, Mississippi. Tickets are $30 in advance, $40 at the door. Tickets are on sale at Shop and Save, $14.99 South 3rd, and naturally at Naked Truth. The VIP tickets, where you get to sit at a table and not just in the seating area, those tickets are $50, and they can only be purchased at Naked Truth. Now, this is my birthday party. This is my biggest shindig of the year. So will y'all come on out and help me celebrate my birthday? Somebody on here saying, no Bishop Bullwinkle. Bishop outcusses me, okay? Bishop Bullwinkle, and he's my friend. Bishop and I are good friends. But I might bring Bishop later on in the year, and we'll do something there in the gymnasium, okay? All right, tell you what we're going to get ready to do. I'm gonna play some commercials, and then I'm gonna let one of the stars of my big birthday, let her sing. I'm gonna let Adrena sing, he won't leave his wife for me. We're gonna let her sing, and then we're going to come back with Abigail Noel, a psychic, and we're gonna talk a little bit about Lorenzen Wright and the other players that she says were involved. She knows the man's name, she says, that drove Lorenzen to his death. Then we're going to talk about Miss Duckett. You don't want to go nowhere. Call your friends, call your enemies. If you ain't got none, call mine. And we're going to be back, and we're going to get into this right here on the Thaddeus Matthews TV show. All right.
Where would you like Miss Abigail to sit?
At the table. I love you too.
To your right, correct, to your right.
You think you can handle that?
If you would scoot for me, can you scoot for me?
You gonna check to see if you, both of us are being picked up with this one mic? Cause see, I know y'all normally get the other people's, y'all get them two mics, how come I don't get but one?
Slide your mic this way, please, sir, slide it towards her, we can work that out.
We gotta pick me up now, she can't get all the pickup. How come we just can't get the other mic? Just do that.
I was wondering, scoot this one that way then, so you can have the mic you've always had for the rest of your life.
He wants.
Let me see, is it-
All right.
You don't have to touch me.
What y'all doing to the table? There you knock the holes to the screen.
Dale ain't
out.
do it.
Who shook the table?
Dale ain't touching that. Jesus shook the table.
Jesus ain't shaking nothing. But Jesus don't need to be shaking my table. Leave my table alone, Jesus.
He just have to blame somebody else for everything.
Everything.
I didn't do it.
I don't know.
All right, quit rocking. Be still. Abigail.
Okay.
Ooh. All righty.
Your birthday bash is tomorrow night.
Huh?
Your birthday bash is tomorrow night?
No, 29.
Oh, March, okay, got it.
March 29.
You like the blues, Abigail?
Oh, yeah, pretty much any kind of music, well, except most country unless it's old school. That, I don't know about that new stuff. Sounds more like Europop or something. Like, what is that? Was that the music at the birthday bash?
Did they
The
play?
blues?
I don't think they played
The blues,
Mercury.
yeah.
Blues? I think I might wanna come, it sounds fun.
Oh, it's gonna be a problem. Have you moved to Memphis?
I'm here, yeah.
Oh,
I'm back
okay.
home. I just got, moved back in off, in fact, I was 10 minutes from here, it's so cool. I'm just down the road. Now, we're not supposed to look at these though, right? I should look at the camera?
Yeah, I mean, just,
Right.
just normal converse, with
Doesn't matter.
conversion, yeah.
Okay.
So, Teresa, if I move this way, you still see that?
That's something on his side.
Oh,
Quit rocking the goddamn table.
Sorry, I really did.
Thank you.
Sorry. Oh, shit, okay, I'm done.
There's nothing
good.
on there now, but
Ooh.
that's all there really close.
But, yeah, I can't see their face. Is something wrong with you? That's not how you.
Sorry, okay, now I'm good.
Just be still.
Okay,
She's trying to get comfortable.
I'm trying.
Okay, but she ain't got to rock the
It's
table.
up there, but it's not like it was.
Ay. They both got on blue. I don't understand. I'm gonna try to bring it down some. I guess the J is shining on you. Something sparkling,
Oh, on me?
not around
Behind
you.
him?
Oh,
That's better.
really?
Around
All right, I hope that means,
That's better.
you. That's better.
That
get
water
the truth
bottle
coming
down.
in.
You know
Keep it
what, you
clear.
probably put your water bottle
Some-
down.
Okay.
Let's
Something
see.
shining around her.
You too.
I don't get no shine
Yeah, a
around
little
me.
bit.
Ain't no angels around me, huh? She get the angels around her.
You just cussed the angel out.
Praise the Lord, saints.
All right, we got it, y'all. You good?
We're good.
All right. You still see the halo behind my head?
No,
No, play.
Ain't no halo there no more.
ain't no halo behind your
Ain't
head.
no phone.
We ran them off.
All right.
And you didn't wanna move over this way just a little. Don't you move, baby. Don't you move.
No, I'm not, yeah, I'm not gonna, I was gonna say, I don't wanna shake it up. There we go.
How am I now?
Okay, just, you good.
All right, thank you.
Are you still on camera? Do I need to readjust your cameras?
No, we fine.
Okay.
We got 2 more commercials.
2 more commercials and then we're gonna play a song, and then we'll be back.
Well, we come, okay.
Do what?
Ready, your birthday bash is right after this commercial.
Okay.
So did you wanna come back and introduce the song?
Yeah, let's do it that way.
So after your birthday bash plays, then you coming back.
Okay. Can you read my future while you're here? You see any great
It's very
things for
great.
me?
I really do. You do.
Okay, well, we'll talk about the great things. We'll talk about that on the air.
You can expand.
I need to hear some good news, Jesus. I hear so much bad news. Whew. What's it ringing?
That's their telephone.
Whose phone? Oh, it's ringing. Oh, it was ringing in my ear. Good mics.
Last commercial. I used this product. I want to be on my criminal.
Y'all ain't gonna get no psychic stuff. Y'all had some questions on get with your surgery be good. Hell, if you got good insurance and you got a good damn doctor, your surgery will be good. You got that one from me. Now if your ass ain't got no insurance, you gonna be ass out of luck.
That's why I was saying the same thing.
Let's see, 4 tickets will cost. No, this somebody won't come back and get. Let me see. Let's see. Wait a minute. Let me ask him. This is Terry's daughter.
1 minute.
That's how Terry doing. Oh,
50 seconds.
I was asking how Terry doing.
What?
She was sick.
Huh?
She was sick.
40 seconds.
Do what?
Can you hear me?
What?
30 seconds.
Okay.
20 seconds. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2,
That's right. That's my big birthday bash. I want you there. I want to see you there. Sneak, you texted me. Look, baby, the tickets are if you're getting the regular tickets, you want 4 tickets. That's regular price is $30 a ticket. That'd be how much? $120. If you want the VIP tickets, that'll be $200. Look, y'all getting y'all checks tomorrow. The crazy checks, the SSI checks, your no, we don't take EBT cards. Y'all getting your checks tomorrow. Go by Shop and Save. We'll be at the church by 10ish. I'm gonna be in the office early in the morning, all day. I ain't gonna even have no lunch tomorrow. What you said, Dale?
Yes, you are having lunch.
10 o'clock in the morning, we'll be there. Come on. If y'all buying them tickets, I ain't gonna get no lunch. Come on by on tomorrow and be there at the show. It's gonna be off of the chain. In fact, this young lady right here, y'all see Abigail. Y'all see she here. But I gotta make my birthday work too. Wait a minute, you told me you saw something in my future.
Yes, I do see you expanding.
Well, talk-
Are you working on a book?
Huh?
Are you working on a book?
I've been thinking about writing a book.
Okay, so
I just
got
ain't
chills
took
on
the
that.
time to
Now,
write.
for our listeners, y'all ask, they gotta ask if it's true, they'll get chills and tell you, but I just got chills on the book.
You got what on the book?
Chills, like that means, so when I'm speaking, I'll get chills down my right or down my left. Down my right, that means Jay is checking in and he's saying yes.
Jay
You
is
bet.
Jesus, y'all.
Yeah, Jay is
Okay,
Jesus. You gotta do the book, which means it was written, it's something that you wrote before heaven, so it's already a success. You see what I'm saying? Cause it was already approved by the Father in heaven. So there's a book that you're supposed to write, which is it's a big part of moving you forward. Big part, chills again. Did you feel that, Dee? Ah, she's feeling it.
Did you feel it?
Jay's giving her
Did
some
you
neck
feel-
sugar on
did
that
you-
book.
yeah. Did Jay tell you anything about national TV and money?
Yeah, you will expand. Yeah, you will expand. I mean, I'm asking them about time. They get a little funny about time, okay? And that's because, people always want something set in stone, and if you focus too much on time, you will mess yourself up.
I'm 62, so we got time ain't something that's really on my side.
It is on your side, because you're here to be a long time.
I'm
You're
gonna be here a long
You're
time?
gonna be here a long time. Oh, yeah. He wants to keep you around for a while.
He won't keep me.
Well, he knows
Thank you,
you're on a
G.
payroll, you know what I'm saying? He knows,
Okay.
So with that said, you're gonna be here a little while, but I do see national, looks to me, wow, see, that's sooner, I was gonna say 7, but something big happens in 3 to 4. But
3 to
again,
4 what?
3 to 4 years, don't get upset.
3 to 4 years.
But you're
Hell,
moving
I'll be
up.
damn near 70 years old.
You're moving up the whole time. You're moving up the whole time, though. You see what I'm saying? So something really big is gonna happen in 3 to 4 years, and then something again in 7. But the book.
What gonna happen sometime soon? Do you see
That's the
anything?
book. You gotta do that. Now this is what's funny. Sometimes, we waited 7.5 years for any kind of justice on Lorenzen's case. So I do feel you.
Yeah, but
You
I'm
know what I'm saying?
62. I
I
don't
know.
wanna be sitting there.
I know. Yeah,
An
but you
old
don't
man
look
together.
62. You look
Okay.
good. In fact,
Yeah,
you
I
gotta
look
see
good.
the suit and the shoes. You look great.
Yeah, the shoes be matching everything. Yeah.
And I'm going to the birthday bash.
You coming to the birthday?
I'm
party?
going to the birthday bash. I'm committed. I'm
Look,
committed. That's
let's
the
get.
29th, you guys
Let's
be there.
get.
Sounds like
she
fun.
said,
Feels fun.
Now I've been.
Jesus says go to the birthday bash.
Jesus told you to go to.
Yes, he
Yeah,
did.
Jesus said come to the birthday bash, y'all.
You better go.
Yeah, come get y'all some tickets and come and help me.
That's right.
Yeah. We're gonna get into a lot of what she's talking about, and a lot about Lorenzen, and a lot about Miss Duckett in just a minute. But here's one of the stars that's going to be on that big show. Out of Jackson, Mississippi, this is Adrena. Yeah. Turn up so I can hear it.
back in right after that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so every time he do something, just hit take and get ready to go wherever he go. Okay. Turn this on.
Can I have this nice writing pen?
Absolutely not. Yeah, I see.
Thank you.
Ask me for stuff that you know I don't want, but I have to give it. Okay.
All right, time for me to go.
You ain't supposed to hear nothing blowing smoke. It's on TV. And that's Adrena. She'll be at the big show. She gave me a title. She just gave me a title for tomorrow night's show. Tomorrow night's show. Can the love in the streets make you leave home? Take this Elko out my ear. Can the love in the streets make you leave home? Yeah, yeah. You ain't getting it the way you want it from the one you want to get it with, the one that live at the house with you. Can the love in the streets make you leave home? That's going to be the subject on tomorrow night. And y'all take this echo out of my ear. Take me back to where we were before the commercials. Get this echo out of my ear. All right. Now, what is a psychic? Abigail, what is this gift you got?
Well, first of all, everyone is psychic. That's true. I've been teaching people how to hear God and have a psychic relationship with God for the purposes of divine guidance. And I've been doing that for 13 years. And watching people awaken to a psychic relationship with God, not for the purposes we've been taught, not what you've seen Sylvia Brown do or the Long Island medium. It's so that you can speak to your own grandmother, not pay somebody $300. Oh,
You need to speak up a little
Speak
bit.
up a little bit. So,
And cut your mic off in the studio because I can hear it ringing in there. Okay. All right.
so everyone can awaken to their divine psychic nature and a psychic relationship with God. So I see Yeshua, aka Jesus, the same way that a psychic, as we have defined it before, can see somebody's grandfather or brother or whatever that is. So I can see the same thing through the veil. And really what it is it's using your imagination. So, and I also hear the voice and see the one I call the Father or Abba. I've seen Yeshua since I was 2.5 years old. My father was an atheist. I was raised in an atheist household. I wasn't raised in the book of the box. And I knew who Yeshua, what Jay was, before I ever knew how to speak. So I didn't have the words yet to explain it. But I used to talk to my dad about that all the time. He used to tell people I had an active imagination and blame it on my mom for letting me watch too many cartoons.
Okay.
So he told me once that Jesus was just a man, that there was really no heaven or hell. And so I was given the entire, atheist platform. But my experiences and having known that presence my entire life and always knowing the voice of who I call the Father, I knew him as Abba before that. And I never knew until I was, I think I was 14 years old when I found out that Jesus referenced, used the word Abba in the book. I didn't know that. I cried the first time I heard that because I realized, how did I know that name? But I was born with this knowing, and I was always born knowing that it wasn't, I never thought of myself as a psychic until I was 16 years old. I thought everyone else was hearing the same voice as I was. I just thought that my father didn't hear it because he didn't believe it. In fact, one time Jay showed up at my house on a Saturday. I was only 7.
Who?
Jay. I called Jesus. Jay.
Jesus, show up at your
I call
house.
him Jay. He told me to. I wouldn't do that because it seemed a little bit irreverent, and he said it's okay. But anyway, with that said, he showed up at my house on a Saturday. I was 7 years old, and I told him he had to go because my dad was home. I said, he doesn't believe in you. You gotta
Okay.
go. Make sense?
Did he leave?
No. Well, he gave me his message, and then
Okay.
and then he left. But so I've always seen him like psychics see people.
Okay. Now, let's come into the Lorenzen Wright case and the death of, the murder of Lorenzen Wright. How did you get involved in the Lorenzen Wright case? How did you start to see things in the Lorenzen Wright case? You've been 100% on point with information you put out in 2014.
Yeah, I made it public in 2014, but I met with Larry Godwin, who was no longer at that time. In 2011, he had left the Memphis City Police Department and moved on to Homeland Security. But I was directed by Spirit to contact him because he was still the one at that time that had been most instrumental in this case. He was the police chief in charge at the time. And so he went from Jackson, he flew from Nashville to Jackson, Tennessee. I drove from Memphis to Jackson, and I met with him for 3 hours. During that 3-hour time, I gave him all of the names that I made public and more. Well, actually, no, everything that I made public, I gave to him in 2011. I will always go to law enforcement first and try and work with them. I went public in 2014 because Jay asked me to, my guidance asked me to, because I had met with law enforcement twice. I met with Larry Godwin for 3 hours. I then met with the TBI agent, gave him the same information. I made 3 phone calls to the Memphis City Police Department and spoke to officers who were working the case. I gave them the same information, and I also called the FBI. You will see federal charges in this case. It's not done yet. And I believe, and you'll find out there's more involvement than meets the eye. We also have a police officer who is still currently working for the Memphis City Police Department, who had full knowledge of what happened to Lorenzen Wright.
Now,
He never said a word because of
let's
his
go.
involvement
Let's go to that.
with Bobby
Let's go.
Cole, Dennis McNeil.
His
And
name
I
is
told
what?
Larry Godwin about Dennis McNeil in
Dennis McNeil.
2011.
Now tell the audience who Dennis McNeil is.
Dennis McNeil, he's still, in my understanding is he's still sitting on, he's an officer with the Memphis City Police Department. He went in years ago with a buddy of his, Tim Green. They went into drug enforcement, but they were already working with Bobby Cole. Dennis McNeil is married to Bobby Cole's sister.
Okay.
And Tim Green was indicted. Tim Green had been indicted before Lorenzen Wright's body was found. And Tim Green and Dennis McNeil were the first 2 people on the scene when Lorenzen's body was found. Tim Green had already been indicted and was off the force. He was awaiting his trial. He then went to prison. Now, why were those 2 guys? Dennis McNeil should have been behind a desk at 201 Poplar at the time. Why were they the first 2 people at the scene when Lorenzen Wright's body was found? And it's important to say that the way that I work, first of all, I don't ever look for spirit to speak to. The way that Lorenzen's spirit came to me was, I happened to be walking through a living room at the time in someone else's house, and they had the news on the day his body was found. And what happens is I'll get a rush of energy that came through me. A lot of emotion comes through like right away, and then I'll realize, because I've been speaking to dead people my entire life, so it's just like a blind person would know when someone comes in the room. I'm just very aware of someone's presence even without a body. So I knew that I had a very tall, good-looking black man next to me, and when I saw the news thing, I said, "Oh my gosh, is that you?" And then I get chills. The first thing that I do is I get with Jay. So I make sure that that person knows who Yeshua is and that they're going to get with Jesus. And I also have to have what's called my gatekeeper. So I won't work with spirit without having him on my right. So I got with Jay, and at that point, it was immediate. From the time his body was found, his spirit was with me, and we started working on that case. He began giving me information right away. His spirit was very upset. Deep betrayal. He immediately named his wife, showed me a wedding ring and said, the bitch, she did this to me. And then the next piece that came in was that he very much knew that the person who drove him to the scene was a good friend. Now, when the news reel was on, that you could see Dennis McNeil. He's on the cameras. If you go back and look at that footage, you'll see it. And I didn't know who he was, but I immediately had a drop down from what I call the Father's voice. And he literally said, that man knows he's guilty. And I'm very aware when God's telling me something. No one could tell me that Dennis McNeil, who is still on the police force, he still works for the Memphis City Police Department. And I told Larry Godwin this. I said, he's involved, he's always had knowledge, but he couldn't say anything because he's a dirty cop. And he would have got busted. So the thin blue line is what kept Lorenzen Wright's case from being solved. His family waited 7.5 years.
So you think then that the reason that it took so long for the investigation to start, for Shara to be implicated, was because there was knowledge that police officers had that they did not want to share because they were involved?
And Shara knew also, so they couldn't point a finger or take Shara in because she could tell on them.
Okay.
Makes sense. Same with Kenny Brown. I don't understand why Shara hasn't used that. I know from spirit that
Now,
Shara Wright.
who is Kenny Brown?
So one of the next things that was identified, one of the first things that was identified to me was that Dennis McNeil was fully aware of why Lorenzen was murdered and how he was murdered, and that he was keeping his mouth shut because he was a dirty cop. I was shown that immediately before I even knew his name. So later, the next piece that's shown to me besides the wife, she did this to me, the bitch, was this deep feeling of betrayal. And I knew immediately that he got in the car that night with someone he considered a friend, somebody that he trusted, somebody that Shara also knew. I was made very aware by Spirit, by God, that Shara Wright watched us. I see her in my mind's eye. I watch her pull. There's curtains and shutters on their house at that time, and she pushes the curtains back, and she looked through the shutter and watched him drive away, knowing what was going to happen to him. And I was very aware that the person driving him, that Lorenzen got in the car with, was very aware that what was going to happen to him, because there was deep betrayal going to the scene. Because then what happened was they left about, I'm told by Spirit, at 10:44 that night. Sheriff said about 10:30. I say it was closer to 11. They went and got something to eat. I believe it was a burger. What's crazy is you can go back and I'll say the same thing in 2011, 2014, and I'll say the same thing now because I can't forget it. It came through from Spirit. And then they went to, that cutoff, which is very much more developed than it was back then. Back then it was not as developed. There were just apartments that were some distance away. I also validated through his family that he knew somebody in those apartments, because he told me he was going to try and run as fast as he could and hope that they missed him. But the next thing, I guess, that comes in is I see them walking. And that's how I knew that the person who drove him there had betrayed him big time and was a friend, because I asked him specifically about driving and, did he fly? And so that was a very specific part of the case, because the betrayal for that person, in fact, before Lorenzen was shot, he's on the phone making the call, right? He's trying, I think he wants to run, he's totally panicked. He looks at Kenny Brown and with his eyes tells him, like, I can't believe you did this to me. Like, it's gonna make me cry. That was the biggest part of the emotion, his anger towards Shara Wright and his deep feeling of betrayal. He couldn't believe that this person standing next to him on his right that drove him there had done this to him.
Was Shara at
And
the
that's
scene?
Kenny Brown. My understanding is, no, what happened next is Shara was at the scene, I believe, a day or two later. This makes me sicker than anything. She went out there with a metal detector when Lorenzen's body was laying in that field. She had no problem going out there and using a metal detector to pick up evidence, and they found the second phone. They wanted that second phone. Lorenzen dropped it. He showed that to me clearly, and it was validated that Lorenzen had a second phone. And the second phone is what they wanted, because that would have solved it. If the police had gotten that phone, that would have solved it right then. So she went out with a metal detector and picked up some shell coverings, I'm told, but it was that phone, I'm told, that she was looking for. They cut the fence the day before. I was shown that as well. But again, Kenny Brown, when I didn't have his name, just to explain, I work as a psychic investigator, but I had a full description of this person, and when I ran the description to his family, let me just say that in general, they all said Kenny Brown right away, and then what happens is I get full chills. So I've known since 2011 it was Kenny Brown. I've known that Dennis McNeil, a Memphis City Police Department officer, he's still being paid by the police department in the city of Memphis, knew about this the whole time and lied for 7.5 months.
So,
7.5 years, kept his mouth shut.
So do you think that Kenny Brown, Dennis McNeil will ever be arrested?
If I have anything to do with it, I promise you they will. I promise you they will. I'm not done. I called the DA the other day. Channel 3 and Channel 5 doesn't think this is a story. They don't want to make the police look bad. They told me I should have done more. I met with the police for 6 hours. I gave them this information in 2011. I called the police again in 2014. I've made 3 phone calls to Memphis City Police Department. I spent 3 hours with Larry Godwin, 3 hours with the TBI agent, and I've made 2 phone calls to the FBI. And Channel 3 News says I should have done more.
Have you spoken with the current police director?
I have not, but I mean, it's my understanding, they know who I am, they know where I am. I called the DA in this case and left a message that said maybe I can be of help since I've got 100% accuracy on this, and I tried to give them every one of these players in 2011.
So other media is saying that you should have did more. Are they saying that you're inaccurate?
Oh, they can't say I'm not accurate. I have the evidence. I've got the video in 2014 of me saying that they were looking. I said, you need to find a guy named Big Bill. That's Billy Turner.
Okay.
I said the second shooter with Bill, the 2 men that Lorenzen walks up to, okay? I said the other one has a J initial in his name. That's Jimmy Martin. I said Sheriff set the whole thing up, and I said the man who drove him there, if they would have just followed up on that piece, you know what I'm saying, was Kenny Brown. And they still haven't arrested Kenny Brown, but this is what's remarkable. It's in the investigation because April Thompson of Channel 3 News let me know. It's in the investigation that in 2017, Sharon Brown, who's related to Kenny Brown, told the police that he confessed to murdering Lorenzen Wright for $100,000. Not only that, but the family knows I told him $100,000 is the money we're talking about. And the other shooters were paid $20,000 and a gold Cadillac SUV that was towed from a man named Greg Lewis's house in outside of Oxford, Mississippi. And the FBI towed that car. It's all connected. Make sense? There's more to this case. I think there's going to be more charges against Sharon and some other players, and I hope Dennis McNeil.
Do you think that the city of Memphis police is actively still investigating this case?
I gotta hold back because, you know, personally, I've been pretty angry at you know, just, are they working this case? They've never worked this case. The only reason that they made any arrests in this case is because Jimmy Martin got busted and he gave it all up. He made a deal. So the Memphis City Police Department had never worked this case. I gave them all these details, and I gave it to Larry Godwin for crying out loud. You know, back in 2011 when he had just freshly worked on this case. Do you know what I mean? That was like...
When you came out with this information in 2014, you spoke about where the weapon was.
Yes, I did. I told them they would find it in a body of water in Mississippi. I said it's either a small lake or a large pond. And that's exactly where they found the weapon. The other gun, I believe, is still in a Nike duffel bag in somebody's house. That's how dumb they are. Maybe Greg Lewis's. It's possibly Greg Lewis's house. Greg Lewis, my understanding, somebody told me that he's since died of cancer, but Greg Lewis worked for Bobby Cole, was being investigated by the FBI, went to high school with Lorenzen Wright, played football, and worked at the House of Dubs. I was told that the House of Dubs was all part of this, and that everybody over there knew everything that had gone on.
Well, it was spoken about at the House of Dubs that Lorenzen got into it with someone at the House of Dubs over Cheryl. Okay, that was an argument. Apparently, she was sleeping with somebody that was connected with the House of Dubs. And for those of you who don't know what the House of Dubs is, it's and it might still have the same name. It's a they customize cars on Elvis Presley right across from the Bulk Mail Center. So you don't believe that actively the police ever wanted to solve this?
I don't mean to say that all of them. I mean to say that that there's a thin blue line that prevented this case from being investigated the way that it should have been investigated. That's what I would say. And I would ask the police right now, the Memphis City Police Department, why they never investigated Dennis McNeil, why they did not investigate when they know. And I've been asked not to mention his name, but he's an ex-sheriff. He was a sheriff right here, so go figure, it's one of the ex-sheriffs. He validated everything that I said about Dennis McNeil and Tim Green going in as dirty cops. And he validated the thin blue line.
He's an ex-sheriff,
Yes, yes,
deputy sheriff,
here in Memphis, yes.
wouldn't be the one she married.
Oh, no. But again, going back to this, here's what I would say. How, if the Memphis City Police Department really did their job in this case, how come I figured it out and they didn't? You see what I'm saying? If this case had been investigated,
So-
really been investigated, they could have found this out.
What do you say though, Abigail, when they come back and say, well, when it comes to Dennis McNeil, when it comes to Kenny Brown, and likewise, I've also heard that Kenny Brown's name is a part of the investigation. I've
Since
also-
2017.
Right.
And he's
I've
still
also
been
heard
arrested, sorry.
that at a family gathering, that his sister, is that Sharon?
All I know, I'm not sure who she is, but it's a Sharon Brown
That the conversation came up about Lorenzen Wright, and that he stated that he was there at the time. What do you say when people come back and say, well, if the police had the evidence that Dennis McNeil, a police officer, was involved in this, why have they not arrested him? You must be crazy, you must not know what you're talking about, because the police, surely if they had the evidence, would have arrested him by now.
I don't think they've ever investigated him. Did they ever look into his finances? Did they ever ask for, you know what I mean? I don't think he was ever investigated, to my knowledge. He's not
Okay.
ever mentioned, it was never looked into, and isn't it odd that Tim Green and Dennis McNeil were both hired and paid by Lorenzen Wright at different times? Lorenzen Wright got Dennis his security job with the Grizzlies. Tim
Okay.
Green was paid as a bodyguard for Lorenzen Wright. Tim Green was worked security part-time for the Martini Room. We all know about the Martini Room. That's where
Sure.
Bobby Cole was running his drugs through. That guy had gone to jail. I think he's out again now. It makes sense. So my point is, this case was right in front of their face. So no, I don't believe that they investigated this case with the veracity that they should have. No, I don't.
So why did?
How did I figure it out in their
Why-
cops? They
Why
didn't.
did Sharon, and this is where the plot starts with Sharon, am I right?
Yes.
Why did Sharon go after these particular individuals to make them a part of her murder scheme?
Well, she was having sex with both Big Bill,
And that's Billy Turner,
Billy
right.
Turner, and she was having sexual relationships with Kenny Brown as well. So there's that. And Shara is very sexually manipulative, let me say that, and incredibly active. I think we all know that.
She was a hoe.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
And so with that said, but she played this role. She was really the abuser and a manipulator. I don't like to judge people, but
Because
she's
at one time, her
she's
and
very
Billy
dark.
Turner, I believe, were engaged, and I did so much on this story.
Both working at
about
the
a
church
year.
together.
That is correct. They were both, cause she got her call to preach.
Minister, yeah.
She was minister Cheryl, and this guy, they were out in the country. I forget the name of the church. It was one of them churches, number 1 or number 2 out in the Collierville area, where they were supposedly engaged. He was also the lawn man cutting the grass.
Yep.
He was also when she married the deputy sheriff. Okay, she married a deputy sheriff and moved into the house in East Tennessee. That when she got ready to leave the guy that she married, married for the guy that was living in Cowan. I believe his last name was Cowan. That was living in Atlanta. Was it Atlanta or Houston? Houston. Betty Turner was the one that helped load up the car. So I guess she was sexually manipulative, and I guess she was screwing all of them.
Yes, yes, everybody. And I don't know how, it's amazing to me, I don't know how anyone could manipulate to that extent, but, working cases, I see things I can't believe all the time. But it was very much a manipulation on her part, and she presented herself as the abused woman. Lorenzen took advantage of her, she'd had 6 of his babies, you know, she talked about him being the cheater, when the reality is she was sleeping with more people on the side than he was.
Well, I had one of Lorenzen's longtime friends on the show. Ooh, back we were still in the old studio, so it was first one, Lester Bibbs. Yeah,
love
Lester
him,
Bibbs, comedian
yes.
Lester Bibbs,
Good guy.
who was a very close friend of Lorenzen, who talked about how big of a hoe she was, and who talked about how Lorenzen had talked to him about some of the men that she was cheating with, the men that were screwing her on a period, the fights that took place at the House of Doves. So I believe in the accuracy of what you're saying. When I go back and I've looked at some of your videos from 2014, and all of what you're saying and all that was revealed last year is exactly what you have already said. So this has been a big national story as far as the Lorenzen Wright murder is concerned. But we only have Billy Ray Turner arrested, and we've got Shara arrested. What's the name again? How many people were there at the time of his death?
There were 4. It was Lorenzen and Kenny Brown, who drove him knowingly and willingly to his death. And then there was I've always been told, the 2 shooters, which is validated by the scene. 2 shooters, and that would have been Jimmy Martin and Billy Turner. Billy Turner really didn't want to do it. He was the one that was the least enthusiastic, I'd say. One of the shooters really didn't want to do it, but kind of had to, because he was in too deep.
When you say he didn't want to and he was in too deep, what do you mean when you say that he was in too deep?
Well, the other way that Shira manipulated people was by either getting them into some illegal or nefarious activities, and or knowing about people's illegal or nefarious activities. It's my understanding, to the best of my interpretation, is that Shara Wright, I don't like to give her that last name, Shara, knew about Dennis McNeil's nefarious activities. So obviously he can't say anything or work on that.
What was his activities?
Dennis McNeil, is that my understanding was working with Bobby Cole, and went in with Tim Green as dirty cops. They went into the force on purpose, knowing they were going to work both sides. Tim Green, his best friend, was busted for literally being on the DEA and then he was on the DEA so that he could tell Bobby Cole when and where the raids were coming.
Okay.
And that's what he went to jail for. And he and Dennis McNeil were best friends. They went into the academy together. And then they both just happened to be the first 2 people on the scene when Lorenzen's body was found. And then that's when I saw Dennis McNeil on the camera, and God himself, Abba, said, "That man is guilty and knows all." Now, and I know my Father's voice. I know my Father's voice. And no way would here's a gig. I either have the truth, or I am crazy as crazy, because who would sit here? I live here in Memphis, Tennessee, and I'm just going to accuse this Memphis City Police Department officer of being crooked and tell everyone he needs to be arrested. But you know what I'm saying? You got to have the truth to have those kind of balls.
My guest tonight, Abigail Noel, investigative psychic. Those of you on Instagram, you're timing out. I'm going to bring you right back. I'm getting ready to go to commercial break. When we come back from the commercial break, we're gonna talk a little bit about Pandora Duncan. Don't you dare go anywhere. We'll be right back here on the Thaddeus Matthews Show.
Thanks, you guys.
Huh?
I'm telling them thanks.
Oh, they can't.
Yeah,
See,
Karen,
when
they
you-
can't hear me?
When you're looking on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Why aren't we in commercial break? I went to commercials. Is anybody in the control room? Damn. I've been sitting here for the last 2, 3 minutes because I didn't look up.
So they can't hear me on there, Mr. Matthews.
I hadn't looked up. I thought we were in
Yeah.
commercial break until I looked up here at the tablet. Alexis, you're wrong and you're off track, and that will get you off the page. You must have had to go pee, didn't you?
Yeah.
Get you a pot and keep it in the studio.
Oh, lie. Is Miss Abigail
Do what?
up there?
Okay.
What she said?
They not done.
Okay.
Done with what?
I was just making sure she was staying after.
No, we're gonna go to commercial, then I'm gonna come back. You got the blues show in the set too, right?
You want the blues show on this one?
Huh?
The blues show?
Yeah. You got it in, cause it runs in every commercial set. Make it the last one. Okay, 3242, if you don't know what the fuck you talking about, hush.
Miss Bell, is this blues show? Come here for a second.
What you said?
She needs some help.
Huh?
She
Thank
needs
you,
some help.
guys. God bless you too.
She needs you. What you gonna do? I'll get both of y'all back there pushing some damn buttons.
Cause I don't know what she named her. She got a bobo, you got a. It's the birthday card. I got his birthday right here. Is that it? Yeah. Okay. So it's not part of it.
Those of you on Instagram, when you don't have a face, you are dismissed. righteously nature. Uh-oh. You gone. Did y'all figure it out?
I did.
Okay, good.
Oakland vegan. Yeah, I'm from California. So
Huh?
I'm just talking to Oakland vegan. Can they hear me on here?
Oh, here, listen, what?
Yeah, can they hear me there?
Can you ever come to California? I'd like to meet you. Y'all ain't getting no readings tonight and all that. That ain't what we hear.
Here says Barry Rucker said Abigail looked. What? Hi, not good?
How many more we got?
3. Dad. Dad, you ain't got it on your page?
Huh?
You don't, the show not on your page? Cause you got about 6 folks who told me they can't find it, but they're not my friends, they're your friends.
Yeah, it's on.
They saying they can't see it, okay.
This the last one?
Last one.
I'm hearing, someone just sent me some information. Dennis McNeil is now a lieutenant colonel.
Wow. Whoops.
He's up there, he's up there with
Great.
the director.
I'm
Oh,
moving
well.
next week. No, I'm just kidding. Okay.
No, are you a Muppet? You going? Insults get you put off of this page real quick. Barry Rucker, I'm gonna give you another shot, partner.
40 seconds. 30 seconds. 20 seconds. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Now, we can only accommodate 500 people, so you better go get your tickets. They are on sale at Shop and Save, 1499 South 3rd. I'll be in there Monday myself from 12 until 2 o'clock. From 12 until 2. Come on out, let's have some good something to eat, and that's it. Get yourselves some tickets as well. Okay. Okay, Pastor William. Okay, then tell you what you're gonna do. You're gonna make your own show somewhere else. That's gonna get you blocked off the page as well. My block finger is good up here on this Instagram. All right. Anybody else got anything else negative to say over here? Okay. All right. All right, now, y'all need to be advertising on the Thaddeus Matthews show. You really do. You really need to be advertising on the Thaddeus Matthews show. This is the show that's got us going on. This is the show that everybody is talking about. Now, here's what I do. Everybody that calls me tomorrow, and you get your money tomorrow, from $1,000 to $1,500. I'm going to give you a free trip for 2 to Las Vegas. How you gonna do that? That ain't your business, okay? That ain't your business at all. But I'm going to give you this is 1 month. 1 month of the Reed advertising, $1,000. 1 month of the video, the visual commercials, $1,500. I'm going to give you a free trip to Las Vegas, okay, for 2. You got up to a year to take your trip. I got several certificates. Those of you who decide, well, I want to do 2 months, but I ain't got $3,000. If you got $2,500 on tomorrow, $2,500. I'm gonna give you not only the trip to Las Vegas, I'm gonna give you a trip, a cruise for 2. How you doing that? See, y'all all in my business, okay? Y'all all in my business. But believe me, I used to do this on the radio station. I'm gonna give you a trip from $1,000 to $1,500. That's 1 month of advertising. I'm gonna give you a trip for 2 to Las Vegas. If you get 2 ones, then I'm gonna give you 2 trips, a cruise and a trip to Vegas. Ain't no telling what else I give you to get 3, 4 months. All right, so all you gotta do is call me at 901-231-9239, 901-231-9239, or I'll be in the office at the church by 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm going early in the morning. Come up by the office or call the church numbers 435-6161. All right, I've been a traveling man for 18 years. If you talk about that damn Mason mess, don't come on my page with none of that Mason stuff, okay? Travel your ass on somewhere else. Now, Abigail, one of the biggest things I've been dealing with in the last month, okay, and again, if I, Queen Supreme Butterfly, if I see any more of that Mason stuff on my page, you gone. Now, I don't deal with them Eastern Stars. I don't deal with them Masons. And if I see it on my page, you will be taken off. And I ain't gonna say it no more. One of the biggest things, Abigail, that I've been dealing with is Miss Duckett. It has bothered me. It has bothered me that this 85-year-old woman who had the Alzheimer's.
Mhm.
First of all, it bothers me that for a period of time that morning that family members left her alone with a key.
Mhm.
That she's been missing for over a month now. And no one knows where she is. And what is your feeling? We talked about this, but what is your feelings on this?
It's always hard. It's not. This was a tough case for a couple of reasons. The first thing that came to me, and again, I never know 100% if I'm right. You know, I never know. That's why it takes a lot of bravery, and it's not always easy to hear the details on a case, and they don't always come in, you know, right away or in one time. But the first thing that became pretty evident, and I would have to stand on it, is that she's home. She's in the kingdom. Again, biggest part of my job is to make
She's
sure
where?
she's in heaven.
She did.
She's on the other side. That's
Mhm.
my understanding. Now, I hope I'm wrong. I would always love to be wrong if it's news like that. But the most emotion that I got was how happy she is to be home. She wouldn't come back here for anything. She's a feisty lady. She told me that she was very discombobulated, that she wanted to be back in her other neighborhood. I think she thought she was in a different neighborhood. I just got chills on that. For the audiences I'm speaking, you just ask God to validate, you know, if what I'm saying is true, and get out of the way and they'll tell you. But she thought she was in her old neighborhood. What I get from her, the next thing that I received, because I asked then if she's home with you, then where is her body? And I right away got the feeling of water. Right away got the feeling of water. And the Wolf River is what came through right away. And then I kind of worked with that, because then what I'll do after I receive the initial reading is I looked on the map to see where she had disappeared from, and the Wolf River is farther away. There's another river that's a little bit closer, but I still say it's the Wolf River. And I could possibly do a little more work to pinpoint where one of the more disturbing things is it seems to me after working cases in the Memphis area for the last 8 years now, is that the Wolf River is used as a dumping area often. And just mentioning this, I mean, it would be great if the city of Memphis would pay for a search and rescue team and cadaver dogs to go down the Wolf River sometimes. Maybe we would solve some of these cases, you know? And so, again, I received this feeling that she's in the water. The feeling that I get, which is not always common, it's in fact, it's more uncommon, is that Pandora, it doesn't really want to psychologically relive what happened to her. So the details in this case are harder for me to pull in than some cases. Sometimes it comes through much clearer. This was tough, and I had to work with her for a few days. But again, what seems pretty obvious to me is she's crossed. She was very confused before she died, and there's some anger, a lot of confusion, and there was an altercation. That chills on that I'm fairly sure of. And it seems to be two male energies that are younger, I would say, probably in their 20s. And again, I feel like she got angry and very discombobulated, and it may have even been sort of accidental. It doesn't feel like anything that was planned to me. It feels like a whole lot of events happened, you know, almost to create the perfect situation, you know, for something bad to happen.
So, if she's dead and if her body is in the Wolf River, and the Wolf River is one of those funny rivers that takes many crooks and bends all over Shelby County.
Mm-hmm.
How did Pandora get from the old neighborhood where she was last seen to the Wolf River?
It was my understanding, and I want to make sure I get that right, but I mean, she was disposed of. I got chills on that. Her body was disposed of and taken there. The really, the part, and I can't be really sure on this, sometimes I have to sit with things and work on things. I'll even drive the wolf. I'm getting pulled to the area over by James Road in Raleigh quite a bit, and there's another case that I've worked. I know we have a missing person who's also over there as well, Jordan. But and so I may be pulled over to that area because of the other case. But you know, the next step for me is to then try and kind of drive the area and see if I can't pick something
Well,
up.
the Wolf River would run in that Fraser area. You said James Road, fairly close to James Road, the Wolf River would run, because looking at from the Fraser, you can look at how it travels from Watkins Street due east. So it would go through that area where close to James Road, close to the interstate. So how do you think, if she's crossed over, how do you think it happened? Who were the perpetrators?
It's two young males, and that's all I really have at this point. And it feels like an injury to the head. And I just got light chills on that as well. The weird part is I don't feel that it was, you know, planned. It seemed like something that happened in sort of an unusual or odd way. That's the best that I can you know, get from the energy. Again, what's odd about this is when I tap into Pandora's energy, she's so happy to be home that it's hard. It's almost like if you were talking to, and realize when you get back home to heaven, you become very childlike. So now it's almost like trying to get a child to talk about something they don't want to talk about. Is that sort of?
Do you think
Because the soul has to relive the event. It also could be because of her Alzheimer's. So it's very cloudy when I tap into her consciousness.
So if she crossed over, she wouldn't have the Alzheimer's no more.
No, but I'm saying, when I go back, I see what happened here. So
Okay.
like when I tap into Lorenzen energy,
Mhm.
when he died, it was shock and betrayal. So
Mhm.
when I tap into her energy, it's very confused and muddled
Do you
before she
think,
crossed and panicked.
do you think that if we're talking about James Road, we're talking about from where she was last seen, do you think that it was possible with Alzheimer's that she was trying to get back to the area where she had lived for years?
Yeah, I believe she was. She was definitely discombobulated and lost and trying to find her house.
So where she was,
In her mind, she wanted to go back to wherever she lived before.
she was in
Before.
fact, that
She was-
925 speed over in the Klondike area. So would she have had, I guess, the mindset to go back to Klondike? And here's what I'm saying. She probably didn't accept living at her son's house as her home. And that Klondike was this area that she'd been in all of these years.
Mhm.
That maybe registered in her mind
Mhm.
as being home, and that's where she was trying to get back to.
Yes, yeah, and the other thing that's coming through, it was and not to, not to point any fingers, or as last thing I'd wanna do is make anyone in her family feel, worse than they possibly already do. But it was way too many changes, in a short period of time. To her, it was like everything she knew was uplifted, it changed in a day, and it was like her mind wasn't gonna keep up with that. So wherever she went that day, all of a sudden she was back in her old neighborhood, and it created a lot of panic for her. A lot of panic about, where am I, where do I go, how do I get home? So I feel a lot of that, and it's,
She didn't want to be taken out of her environment and moved up into the Raleigh area. She was living in Klondike, in the Klondike area of the city, and she'd been there for years. So maybe she still felt that Klondike was home.
I think she even kind of thought she was there, and then got lost, and then got very confused about where am I then. So I'm not even sure that in that, and it feels like the more upset she got, that she got angry.
Mhm.
So I very much feel that, as I said, there was confusion and some anger and fear that I feel from her. And again, then I get an injury to the head.
Mhm.
It's hard for me at this point, and again, it's something that I just stay open to and ask to continue working with. Well, most likely will go and drive that area, and drive the wolf a bit and see if anything comes up. But, and if anything else will come in more clearly. I've been getting little bits at a time, whereas, the difference would be on Lorenzen's case, it all just flowed and came in very quickly.
Mhm.
But his spirit was in a different place. And again, what I get from Pandora is, sounds wild, because I know her family would love closure, but she doesn't care. She's so happy to be home. She does not want to come back here to this pit. She does not want to come back and be in a body. She's ecstatic about being in heaven and being home with Jay. And I was able to validate with her granddaughter that she was a believer, that, because as I said, I didn't have to get her with Jay. She knew where she was going,
Mhm.
So, and when I connected with her, she seemed to be stuck to him like glue. And again, that's my first course. It's not about the case or anything else. The most important thing that I will do is work with the spirit to get them to Jay so they can get home and not stay lost.
So how long do you think it will be before her body is found?
It's a hard thing for me to answer. Let me see if I can get out of the way, because what I want to say, I don't. so many people that go missing that the police don't find, and not just in Memphis. I can't just beat up on our city here. And maybe it's a very, I imagine it's a very big job, and they probably are underskilled and understaffed. They should have cadaver dogs on the force. And be searching the river on a regular basis. If I'm aware that the Wolf River has been used as a dumping ground, then I would imagine the police in the city know that too, you know what I'm saying? But when would she be found? Let me see. I think it's possible if she is found, I'll throw it out there, it's a lot like Vegas, but it looks like maybe June or July. I just got light chills on that again, and maybe it's because of the water tables right now. Maybe it's higher right now, and it's interesting because
The water is high. The water is higher right now because of all of the raining. It's up in some areas 30 and 40 inches or more. You think that they just threw her out in the middle of the Wolf River?
When you said through her, I got chills on that. I mean, we're working off the cusp right here, you know what I mean? So it's just coming in. But when you said through her, I got chills, and I saw the word, tossed out. But yeah. So I believe yes, they went to an area where they figured she wouldn't be found. If she's not, completely in the water, she's certainly near the water. But I believe she's in the water now.
Do you think that she was dead prior?
Yes. Yeah. When if I had to go anywhere, the only thing that really comes through as far as injury to the body is an injury to the head. I'm not able in this moment to tell clearly whether it would be a blow to the head or whether it was a gun. But I'm not sure. I couldn't say with complete accuracy which that was, but it's a pain that I feel. I would tell you it was maybe on my back right side.
Was it an attempted robbery?
Yeah, it feels to me like it wasn't planned, but it was maybe to see what she had. Give me your money or whatever that was is what it feels like. It feels like it was for gain and that it was nefarious of some kind, but not something that was planned. I don't get that.
My guess is implications to him. My guess is Abigail Noel. We've talked about Lorenzen Wright, and now we're talking about the disappearance of an 85-year-old Pandora Duncan. And in her feelings is that Pandora Duncan is no longer with us, that she's in the Wolf River, probably killed by these two, and they're young.
It's what it feels. It feels like younger energy, probably still in their 20s, and it feels like two male energies to me. Feels like somebody who would probably live in that area. And again, there was an altercation. She's a sassy thing. She's pretty feisty, and there was an altercation beforehand.
So you think she resisted?
Yeah, and it could have been part of what drew the attention to her was her energy that day. She was, as I said before, she crossed quite upset, confused, some anger and fear, kind of all mixed in together.
All right, we're going to take a commercial break, and I think we'll play another video too. You got boom boom. I'm going into the boom boom room. We're going to get in one of my guests, P2K, the Diddy, and then we'll be back here on the Thaddeus Matthews Show.
the music video before you, come back.
Got what now?
You playing Boom Boom before you come back?
4 more commercials.
No, are you playing Boom Boom before you come back?
I mean, I hear you.
Are you playing Boom Boom before you come back from a
You
commercial?
want the boom boom to be the last one before you come back?
Yeah,
Miss Abigail, are you finished?
where you going?
Oh, I'm coming back, I'm just grabbing it. I'm not gonna shake that table. I'm
You
shaking that
better
table. I'm gonna slide in here.
Yeah, just play the commercials, then just come on out into it.
That's what I want to know. Okay.
I shook the table.
All right, we're in commercial break. Hey, did you play LDs again? How many times LDs played? How many times is
It's on
LD?
every list, it's on every list.
Huh?
It's on every row.
LD's played once already. You wanna play it again?
What she said?
She said it's only played once.
It's only played
one
once.
time already.
So we're playing every one.
You got a line up here.
What she said? What she said?
You got a line up here. You still got a couple commercials ain't even been played.
Okay, but the ones that's going there every time, I want them in there every time.
But you got commercials that ain't even been played yet.
Just play them.
But you have a lineup that we spoke.
Okay, I was gonna have a lot of them. That's how I make my money. Just play them. Just let them roll.
They are rolling in the order that they up here.
Hell, y'all be trying to figure out shit and it's wrote down. Don't figure. I don't want you to think.
Ain't
Just
nothing
play the
figuring.
list.
They rolling how they roll.
Damn. Make sure you play now. We are in commercial break.
Boom Boom coming on after this.
Did you write the list down, Dale? Okay. I don't want them thinking. Okay? Play what the fuck is on the paper. Okay? I know how many commercials I got. I don't need the motherfucker to be thinking about how it needs to be played. If you gave her the list, then damn, that's the way it's supposed to be played. Shit.
Coming back after this. When you come back, you got 10 minutes. Can you hear me?
No?
Do what?
Talking about, can you hear?
When you come back, you got 10 minutes.
I can't hear you in my ear.
Is something wrong with your cord? Cause I ain't changed, I have not hit nothing in here.
But you got the list how they supposed to be played. I don't want you speculating. I don't want you to think.
I don't put the commercials in, David do.
Okay, but you've been at the board. If you're there at the board, all you have to do is implant them in. That's the reason
They're
you
already,
give
they're
you a list.
implanted for me, I don't do that.
You don't know how to do that?
I don't.
Then you ain't got no business back there.
I hit play.
If you don't know how to put the commercials in, you ain't got no business in there.
You come back,
Damn,
you got
now,
10 minutes.
hell.
When you
Oh,
come back, you got 10
if you
minutes.
don't know how to put the goddamn commercials in there, your motherfucking ass don't need to have your goddamn ass in there. Shit.
But you ain't finna talk.
They ain't supposed to be in there.
Like that though.
All
But
they
you
do,
ain't finna
you got a
talk to me
list.
Like that though, but you not finna cuss at me like that.
Okay, then goddamn, you don't need to work in here then.
When you come back
Then-
from commercial
then
break,
goddamn
you
it,
got
do your
10
motherfucking
minutes.
job.
You got 10 minutes when you come
Okay,
back from
okay.
commercial break.
Well, shit, well,
Nah,
your
you not
stupid
finna
ass
cuss
don't
at
need to be
like
working
that.
in here then,
You call
goddamn
me
it.
stupid again.
Now, look.
You call me stupid again.
Goddamn
You
it, you
not finna talk
stupid.
to me like that.
Okay, then do your job.
You need to calm
Do your
down.
goddamn
You need to
job.
calm down.
Okay, do your damn job. It's
You
a
call
list
me
in there.
stupid
It's a
again,
list
though.
of commercials.
But we just got this list. We
The
just
list-
got this
all you
list
got to
a
do
few
is
minutes ago,
implement
but
them.
you not finna
If
keep
you
talking
got
to me like
good
that.
sense,
That's
all you
your
gotta do is
last time
implement
talking to me like that.
Then goddamn it, don't work my
No,
show.
that-
Don't
that's
work my
fine.
motherfucking show.
That's fine.
If you that motherfucking dumb, don't work
When
my
you come back,
motherfucking
you got
show.
10 minutes.
Are y'all on the air?
Dumb motherfucker.
You call me dumb again.
What?
Don't fuss at me like that. That's totally wrong. That's disrespectful. That's disrespectful. You don't talk to women like that. Call me stupid and dumb. What's wrong with you? And I don't even have to say any bad words to you. And I'm not going to, but you're not gonna call me stupid or dumb. He not gonna pray to me like that. That's just totally disrespectful.
Mr. Williams, how are you tonight?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
Fine.
Should I go back out and come back in?
No. But when I give you my list of commercials, play my commercials. That's my money. That's how I get paid.
I get it.
You understand what I'm saying?
Who is that? Is he new?
No, she been working there.
Well, see, I didn't
But when I give you my list, play the list.
Yeah,
And if you don't know how to run the board, you ain't got no business in there.
yeah.
Okay?
Where is the mic and stuff?
Your mic is over here because I got a guest.
Oh, okay. Well, let me bring my guest. 'Cause
5, 4,
3,
It all
2,
clear?
And we are back. Let me pray. But when I spend my money, then my show gonna be right. My show gonna be right. And if the person that's in that can do it, then y'all need to make sure, Miss Debbie, if you watching, you need to make sure that whoever works my show knows what they're doing in there. Cause my commercials is how y'all get paid. And if my commercials are not running, my advertisers don't like that. And if the person that you get in the control room can't run my commercials, then the wrong somebody's in there. And I said what I said, and I meant what I said, so when she tell it, I said exactly what I said. I ain't learned how to bite my tongue yet. It don't taste good to me. All right. Girl,
How are you?
I'm fine. But I just run my business, sir, because this is my income, this is my money. And if I'm gonna pay to do this, then the people that's running my show need to do it right.
Well, a lot of people that know me know I'm a bad tongue biter too.
I'm not gonna bite my tongue and don't give a damn about what nobody think. At all. Okay, that's just it. All right. Going to the boom, boom, boom. We've learned a lot tonight. We've learned a lot tonight about the Lorenzen Wright case. And we've learned a lot tonight about Miss Pandora. And you know, I would like to hope that you're wrong.
I hope I'm wrong.
Okay?
So
I would
hope
like
I'm
to
wrong.
hope that you're wrong.
Yep,
Okay?
yep, I hope I'm wrong a lot, I mean, that's the kind of job I have,
Okay.
so.
But and let me say this. This is not something you make a living from it either.
No, I don't. I work pro bono. Any case that I work, if I'm working with Spirit, then there's no money exchanged. It's pro bono work. So anytime I'm working a missing persons case, a murder, anywhere, cover up, and where there's no justice, it's pro bono.
And just to go back real quickly, when we deal with the Lorenzen Wright situation, again, all of the information that you shared tonight, you say you spoke with Larry Godwin.
For 3 hours in
Right.
2011.
I started
62.
seeing your videos giving all of this information in 2014.
I made
Okay.
it public then, yes.
And one of the persons that you're saying now is involved, that the police have not arrested,
Kenny Brown.
is Kitty Brown.
And Dennis McNeil needs to be questioned and investigated at the very least.
And
Find
Dennis
out his
McNeil, to my
involvement.
understanding now, is a lieutenant colonel.
Wow. Wow. He's got some explaining to do, if you ask me.
He's up there with the director's immediate staff. When we talk about Pandora Duncan, you say that she's in the spirit world. In other words, she's no longer amongst us. She's dead.
Mhm.
You say that her body is in the Wolf
I
River.
believe the Wolf. It's in or near water. It's either in or very near water.
Okay. And again, you have 100% accuracy
Mhm.
with the Lorenzen Wright situation.
Yeah, and on Prince's case, many other cases as
See,
well.
we ain't even talk about Prince.
I'm 100% accurate in that case too, so
Yeah,
far.
yeah,
100.
yeah.
I mean, I told him that he didn't eat his dinner that night, what he drank that night, that his chef was the last one to see him, that he was at a doctor's appointment. We have a missing persons case here, it's Jordan, oh gosh, she's got a different last name, I keep forgetting it, hold on. But the police won't even change it, I'll tell you about him, Jordan Kirkendall, who went missing 2 years ago. And I connected with her mother, Latrice.
Okay.
And it was missing persons, the police were treating it as a 20-some-year-old woman that just, up and left, that,
Mhm.
there was nothing nefarious going on. When I connected with Jordan's mom, I immediately, we put the case together like that. I said, this is her ex-boyfriend Jamal and his new baby's
Have-
mama
have they-
Ashley. And I called the detectives 3 times and gave them their names. Now check it out. Since that happened, just a couple months ago, a witness came forward and said that it absolutely is Jamal and Ashley, the 2 people that I said murdered Jordan. And I've also given that information
Have
to
they
the
been
Memphis
arrested?
City. No. And now the police even know that a witness, the Memphis City Police Department know that this witness came forward and overheard Jamal talking to Ashley about murdering Jordan. And the police know this, and the police know that I psychically brought through that exact same information. How could that happen, that now a witness is collaborating the information that was given to me by Spirit when I got on the phone on this case? And I'll tell you, she's in the Wolf River. I promise you that. What's that, babe?
In the black garbage bag?
Yeah, probably weighted down by 2 tires. Yes, full chills. I can even see the tires and everything. And so here I told the police it was Jamal and Ashley. Now we have a witness who says they overheard Jamal talking to Ashley about the murder, and the police still do not investigate anything. And Channel 3 News and April Thompson want me to believe that they do their job. Well, when? What case have they done their job on?
Now, you know I'm gonna start getting a whole lot of calls about contacting you about situations that are going on. In fact, I got a call early this morning from someone that knew that you were coming on the air. And you don't just get involved in every situation, do you?
I will go to help anybody that needs help. If it's a missing
See,
persons case, I'll take it.
Now you're gonna
I'll
have my
take it.
phone ringing off the hook.
Mine rings off the hook. This is why I tell people, just have patience with me. I stay really busy, but I do it because I want to. But I will. I'll work any case as long as it's a missing persons case. Now, if somebody wants to call up and talk about their love life,
No, I get it.
something like that, you book a session and make a donation. That's how it works. We all want to know about that stuff, you know?
How's my love life?
Book a session,
What'd you
make
say,
a
Zeke?
donation.
What, give me that line again, book a what?
Book a session, make a donation.
Book a session, make a donation. If you wanna know if he loves you or not. Is this the mind for me? Is this the one that I'm gonna grow old and die with in the rocking chair? Okay.
You got 3 minutes.
Okay. Well, thank you so very much for the 3 minutes. All right. Then Mr. Michael R. Williams and the Memphis Police Association is about to come your particular way with some good information, I'm sure, that's going on. For those of you who need a handgun carry permit, you need to call Goldsmith Security Academy. Martez Taylor, how he gonna get caught? He been teaching folk about guns and stuff. How he gonna be in the road rage thing? Pulling guns and flashing his badge. That's a crime, ain't it? Flashing your badge, your security guard badge and pulling up your gun. All right, Martez, needless to say that you will be out of the gun permit business. In fact, they're gonna take your whole permit. You ain't gonna even be able to carry a slingshot, let alone a gun. But if you wanna go to somebody that's really legit, Goldsmith Security Academy, give them a call at 901-634-8384, 901-634-8384. That's Goldsmith Security Academy. All right. What else I got? Oh, the mentoring class for the girls will take place on this Saturday from 10 on to 12 for girls ages 12 to 21 at the Naked Truth Liberation and Empowerment Ministries. Y'all need to be there for that. Don't forget about electronics repair for all of your electronic repairs, TVs, stereos, computer games. See my good friend Cleve Gibson, in fact. He's located at 3900 Macon road. He can fix your Xbox, your PlayStations, and anything that's wrong with your big screen TVs. He can take care of it. Give him a call at 324
You got 1 minute.
7576. 324 7576. Try to get all of my commercials in because that's how I make my money. And that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Those of you who would like to advertise, you know how to call me, 901-231-9239. My guest tonight has been investigative psychic, Abigail Noel.
You got 30 seconds?
Abigail will be back. My time being cut off. Little girl, she ended up mad at me because I had to straighten her out by my commercial. But that's business. I'm out of here and I don't give a damn. I'm out of here. See y'all tomorrow evening.